We are coming to you live from Austin, Texas at Podcast Studio Austin, and I have a tremendously special guest I'm super excited to introduce you to. I'm sure you've seen him before. Incredible actor, Mr. Lew Temple, and I am very blessed to say that this incredible actor is playing my dad in a movie, and it's surreal to just sit across from you and sit down and get to talk to you a little bit.
I would say the same for you,
Thank
Sean.
you.
I would say it's an honor. It's an
Thank you.
honor to be part of the story that it is yours, but it's your family's.
Absolutely.
And it's a universal story. So I think that's why it's so not just interesting, but so important that we tell it. So I'm honored to be here.
Oh yeah.
SHAWN.
Yeah, you got it right.
I
You got it right.
I like that, Sean.
Thank you.
I think that's very unique, like
Thank
you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We lean in authenticity around here for
You
sure.
are authentic.
Thank you.
You are authentic. You're an athlete too.
A little bit. I
Yeah,
try.
no, you
trying to hold it together.
you put some miles on the road.
I did. It saved me, and we kept going.
Hooped it up a little bit too
It
prior
was.
to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
When you do your athletic activities,
Mm-hmm.
also, I don't know how much you've talked on your show about your military experience, but that's being an athlete in its own
For
right.
sure.
And so the repetition of athletic activity is really good for the brain. Your brain loves repetition. It finds comfort in that, and that's we're doing that again. Okay, I know how to do that. That's not scary. There's nothing to fear there. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. It's the times when we need to make changes that our brain gets scared. And it's wow. I've never jumped out of an airplane to parachute into a hot zone before, or you've done it a lot, and this is no problem. I've trained for this. I'm prepared for this, and I'm on go. So I'm really interested in that because I was an athlete before an actor, a baseball player, and the reps are like taking ground balls and batting practice served me so much. But that is actually not the case in acting because you want acting for it to be a little bit like this conversation, live, organic, in the moment, not rehearsed. We haven't talked about one thing. Look where we are now. And so it took me a minute to recognize art is not repetition. Art is organic and in the moment. And so I think athletes instinctively have a story to tell, which is competition, mano a mano, which makes them great. And so when you do it, and you've been on set, we take after take, it's important to keep it fuzzy, keep it live, so it doesn't become wooden, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
It's definitely been different. Obviously, being on the other side of seeing this side of movies being made and how scenes go down, and it's even funny to go home now and pop a movie on and start watching it, and you're sitting there, you're like, man, they probably shot that scene 16 times from 5 different directions with this dude doing this. Just so chaotic, but still so unique and cool to be around and get to see a glimpse of.
it's a lot of work, and it's not one person's work. It's a village.
Yes.
You've been on set, so you recognize that. And I would think the military is similar.
Very much.
You're a team, right? You're a village. You're a crew.
Yep.
You're a unit, and there's a lot to be said for that. And we tell a fair piece of that story in The Price of Redemption, which I'm really proud that you recognize that. And so, as a hooper, let's go back to high school.
Okay.
You still look like you could play. And you were for your team. You were a good team player, I would imagine. Yeah.
Back then?
Yeah.
No, back then I was pretty decent for being, kind of naturally an athlete. But I didn't truly understand like what it took to be like an elite athlete. The work ethic that it took.
Oh,
and
really?
So I kind
So
of
you were natural. You got by on gifts of.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I never missed a day of practice, and
Sure.
I'd be out there playing basketball every day out there on the
Sure.
playground.
You understood what it required.
Yeah, but I didn't understand. Later on in my senior year, or sophomore year, I went over to a Catholic school over in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And when I went over there, I realized there was levels to this. Like these dudes are doing, 1,000 jump shots after practice, like doing that. I was like, oh, I just play basketball all the time and I'm good at it. You know what I mean? These guys are militant with it. And so it was a whole new realm. And then, I got in the car accident,
Right.
when I was young, and then that kind of turned everything left.
Yeah.
And so I started hanging out with the party crowd.
Yeah. It's interesting how one event in your life can spin things, and we underestimate that. And it can be something as simple, it can trigger something that's in you, predisposed in you, and it awakes something, which it seems like, as we're telling our story, it did in you. And that something is not something you recognize, but it's something that overtakes your persona as to who you were. And unless we have methods or programs in place to monitor those things. So for instance, if we just go like biology and chemically, we all have a predisposed possibility of split cells, which is cancer, which is something that I've experienced. I've survived leukemia, and that's just your cells going rogue. That's just a car accident inside your body, and one cell, when it used to be a member of the team, decides to just split off, and it becomes a rogue cell, and that's cancer. And now the other cells are like, hey, get back in the fray, and it won't, and it starts influencing your other cells, and now it metastasizes. And so chemically, we experience that within ourselves. As you know, I did The Walking Dead, and that show was built on a virus that was in us all somehow, and it gets triggered, and we become walkers, as we called them. Not unlike chickenpox or shingles. It's really strange chemically. We're just an incident away from, changing all the time. Yours was a car accident. And then the thing that we talked about where our brains like something, your brain took on that it really liked that experience, that it was falsely, but it influenced you to continue pursuing extracurricular activities that were and behaviors that were not productive.
Yeah, for sure.
And people don't understand that unless you have the tools to A, recognize it, B, stop it, and then C, maintain strength against it. And most of us don't have that skill set, by the way. There's not a manual to addiction.
Yeah, that was a huge learning lesson for me in life and recovery, mental health wise, was understanding.
Are we talking 20 years?
Yeah.
Come on, 20 years.
Right. To understand that there was no one cure, no one thing that was going to do that everything I was learning, whether it was the program, therapy, God, like everything, obviously God above everything, but all tools at the end of the day. And now when, a couple of years ago, I had a mental health dip where all of a sudden I'm depressed from out of nowhere, blessings all around, no reason, no explanation for it. But in the moment, knew what was going on because I'd been there before, and now was like, all right, man, I've been out of touch with my community. I haven't ran in a while. Like I need to get plugged back in.
Wow.
And within a couple of days, I was back to normal.
Just imagine at 19 years old, you had that skill set. And I think that's what your program is trying to do with the young people today, is to give them tools to attend to some of these things, and it starts so small, right? I mean, it could just be one little gummy.
Yeah.
Now today, as you know, I know you speak a lot at high schools, and I appreciate that because I have a high school student, and I don't know that it's different today. You're a better judge of this than I am, but I know that with the with fentanyl being so just everywhere, that little gummy of weed could be laced,
100%.
and then that's a scary thing. So, these kids that you're talking to in high school, they've got their water bottle on one side of their backpack and a can of Narcan on the other, you know, to save one of their friends' lives and it happens. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And but it's real, so we have to be aware and work on it. Do you, when you watch us work, because the work that we're doing is really about emotions and about relationships.
Lew is such a professional. I feel like I'm getting interviewed right now. This is incredible.
Oh, sorry.
Such a professional. No, this is awesome, dude. This is incredible.
No, I'm just curious if you, because one of the, for an actor, the main thing that we're trying to do is tell a story.
Right.
And we want to tell a story that we believe. A lot of people will say, well, acting is just pretending, and it's not. It's actually being real in the moment, in a story that may or may not be ours, but a big part of it is. So when you watch it, do you believe it?
Yeah,
or do you go, it's not really how it goes? Because I watch stuff and mainly I don't believe it because of the level of commitment to be part of a story like this that it requires.
Yes.
Most of us, I'm hopeful, have not experienced what you've experienced, okay? Most of us haven't had an addiction to the level you have. Most of us haven't been incarcerated. Most of us have not seen loss of life. You might think that's pretty normal because you've seen it and been through all of that. That's sort of an experience that I have never had. So when I go do a horror film, like The Devil's Rejects or something, or Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, these, mayhem, these things, I've never experienced somebody, I've never witnessed death. I don't really know what that is. My imagination goes there. It's horrifying to me, loss of life. Human suffering is my biggest fear. Anyone, a houseless person, somebody that is zombified through addiction, those that breaks my heart. But I haven't seen the things you've seen. So it's a challenge for us to present that. We have to really dig deep. And there's digging, and then there's digging deep. And so I'm going to be honest with you. There's days where I don't want to dig deep. I don't want to carry the shovel. And then I get going and I can't help it. I got to dig a little deeper. And it gets a little, you got a director, he's on a clock, and you've got other actors, and you're like, okay, well, let's hold the bus because I'm not buying this. And so we're working hard to buy it. What are your thoughts about
the number one? There's, before this ever happened, big movie fan. Like, I dive deep into this stuff and certain productions I like, actors, directors, all that. And so the number one thing I appreciated as soon as I met each one of you guys and saw everybody on set was there's actors that no matter what movie they're in, they're them. They're that actor.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's people that are true actors that morph that you don't even, they're so good. You're like, oh, I didn't even realize it was Gary Oldman as Jim Gordon in Batman. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So that's what I appreciate. And to see each one of you. And so one of my questions for you was going to be, what is it like, I know you've been in a ton of movies, but going into most roles, you're playing mostly fiction, made up characters.
Yes.
As opposed to now being to go play somebody real that's right there, that had those emotions. And so what it's been like for me is I've been so appreciative of Andrew and the entire production is everybody's respect of how it happened.
Right.
And so receptive of asking me, how was this said, or how did they do this? And then especially bringing it in, like you're saying, I sit back and watch movies all the time and I catch something in there. I'm like, that's not how they, you know what I mean? And it'll take you out of a film.
Yeah.
And especially when you're going to talk about communities like, the veteran community, the addiction community, the running community. These are all communities that identify their own very easily. And so you're going to be able to pick that stuff out. And so to have everybody on set just be so in tune with that, and to have the level of respect, and then to, there was just a scene the other day I was a part of with, Eric and one of the co-stars, and and they delivered some lines, and it was about the loss of somebody in the military, and they delivered them well, and it was a good scene. And I remember going over to Eric. I was like, hey, I was like, bro, the greatest military leader I ever personally knew, my squad leader, is dead, and I just learned this news. And you just saw his eyes get big.
Yeah.
And I shared that note with them, and then they redid the scene, and it was
Thank you.
goosebumps after that.
Yeah, that's the type of thing.
And
it
to see how appreciative y'all are of that
because
gets me excited.
Because it is a collaborative effort, because we're trying to get it right. We're not trying, we're getting it right. Okay? Trying is lying, right?
Yeah.
I'll try to pick you up at the airport tomorrow, Sean. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
All right, so let's put that as an edict down. Trying is lying. I think mental health is all built on truths and lies, and when you're lying to yourself, I can't lift 1,000 pounds. I promise in the military you had a forklift and you were able to lift 1,000 pounds something and move it from one end of the yard to the other. Okay,
Right.
There's a way.
Yeah.
So let's stop lying.
Right.
And that's a challenge.
Yep.
It's challenging. For me, things aren't hard. They're difficult. They're challenging. Hard's the asphalt out there. Hard is some pavement. All right, getting back to what you just said about offering some insight as to how that was, it's appreciated. Otherwise, we're missing, and I think that's where we get. And then on the other side of that is a check of how what the real story is, which, as you said, our director Andrew knows it, like not like you know it, but knows it, and then my co-star, one of the stars of the movie, Morgana Shaw, who plays Marcia, your mother, she's adamant about maintaining what the story is, because there's a lot of inference as to what's going on, and those aren't necessarily the way Lew would go about doing things as a father, but they are how Dave would go about doing things as a father. And I need to be reminded of that a lot. It's not Lew telling the story. It's Lew telling the story through Dave, okay? A Midwest blue-collar guy that isn't spending time. Maybe he is. He probably is at this point, but hadn't at that point with self-awareness, self-wellness, self-evaluation, and so she gets frustrated with me having to remind me that's not probably how Dave approached this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get it right.
Right.
Let's get it right, and so that's important to me. So I'm grateful for the insight of like, yes, no, and so
it's interesting. I
please.
just thought of this. So when you go in, oh man, this is interesting. So when you go into one of the biggest mistakes, if you ever go get a tattoo, right? You go in, you're going to see a tattoo artist.
Right.
You're going to see an artist with a specific style. They're very good at what they do and their genre of tattoo. But
that's right.
Oftentimes people don't understand. They go into this artist and they want this tattoo of this style. What's like you're taking everything they do to the best of their ability and taking it away from them because you want them to do that.
Right.
And so it's an interesting line that y'all have, because you're playing somebody that's actuality, but as an actor, you have your strengths, you know what I mean? Like anything, you're anything else. So you obviously want to lean into those and stuff like that. So it's interesting of two different art forms.
I think that's what makes it, the word you use, interesting, captivating, engaging. So definitely I have colors and skills that I lean into that are fun for me. And I know they're going to be kind of fun for the audience. I understand that. I've got a bag of tricks, we all do. All right. He's got them. So the thing is, if you get out of that comfort zone back to the place that your brain's not really a little scared of, to go into something that is not, I'm not comfortable being dismissive to one person to attend to another person as children or in that support, it doesn't matter. It's not my story. It's Dave's, it's Sean's, it's Marcia's. We got to tell that, and we got to tell it honestly. So now I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared. I'm a little frightened. I'm a little terrified about what I'm doing that's not comfortable with my principle.
Mm.
So I got to go there, and that's really interesting. I find fear because I watch, I'm in the moment and I'm watching actors. I get caught up and just across the way. And I've seen actors with a lot of fear in their eyes. You can see it. I mean, you've been in spaces, you know fear. You've seen fear more than I have. Like, Lew, it's fear for a well-paid actor that's not confident, but you've seen fear. So I've seen it, and it's so interesting and it's exciting. And this guy Denzel Washington, I've seen it in his. I'm just going to be honest out there. I've seen it in his eyes, and I'm like, holy shit, he's afraid. Because if he's the best actor I've ever been around. If he's afraid, and I'm not, then I'm missing the game here. So the thing that you're talking about, not doing my bag of tricks, not doing the old Lew, not doing the, well, I'm going to be likable here. I'm going to be, everybody's going to want to party with Lew, not being that guy in that scene and being honest and real as to what the story is. And I'd say Andrew's exceptionally good at keeping, Andrew, our director, is exceptionally good at keeping us on that line. Morgana's really good at keeping me on that line. And so I appreciate it a lot. And it'll be so much better because of that. Yeah. And so it's, we all want to be liked, or we all want to do good, and good and the truth aren't always the same. The truth is always good, don't get me wrong, but it's not always liked, and that's why we lie. And so I think, to your point, when you stay in source, when you stay in God's direction, God's hand, that your truth is always there, and you can stay on that path. Several are called, few are chosen. I'm using that a lot these days because I know that it's not a given. You got to put that work in. You got to put that work in to be on that path of glory. And so appreciate that. And that's where the work is. It's not just at the craft service table, getting a Snickers bar, right?
How obviously everybody thinks they understand actor. Like, they got it made, this or that. I will tell you, from day one, I realized this is a grind. Very long days on set, hot, wet, cold, raining, you're in it all, not always comfortable, all those things. So how, once, you're on your first movie set, you're doing your first movie, now you're deep in the game. So there's not that same level of excitement of
good point.
Showing up to set and, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm an actor. It's your job.
Yeah.
This is what you do every day. So how do you still, obviously you have to get inspired, and then you're lucky, I imagine, because from what I understand, it's a pretty small percentage of actors that are working actors that do this all the time. Yeah. So what sucks to see as an actor, I appreciate actors. You know what I mean? True actors. And what sucks is when you see a true actor hit that point in their life where they're just making movies to get a check. Yeah. And so how do you do it this as many years as you've been doing it and still find that want to get up and want to do that? Is it being inspired by the scripts you read, or how do you still find that?
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I applaud you for doing your research and knowing that it doesn't just happen. The interest in being able to keep telling a story, inherently, I think, as the human race, we're natural. Storytelling is part of what we do in life. We listen to stories, we tell stories, we're engaged. Some are better tuned at telling a really great story, but everyone has a story to tell, and they're all very interesting. I always give the advice to young actors, tell your story. You'll try to tell a lot of other people's stories, but tell your story. And in a way, when you bring Dave to the world, there's a part of Lew that's piece of that. I do try to find scripts that are interesting storytelling that I think are relatable, and even, and I never do these, we call them spandex movies, but the superhero stuff, I'm never part of that world. But even those, I think you have to find the story, because that's what's engaging about it. And I try to see something in every story I read. I read a lot of scripts, and I read a lot of scripts that aren't as fulfilled as they could be. And I'm really grateful that my imagination in my mind is active. I'm so grateful that I've been able to maintain that 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old imagination. I've been able to keep that fertile in this work that we do, because those are dreams that come true. Those are manifestations that build and become. So a man thinketh, so he become. And I will read a script, and my imagination will just go and grow like a weed, So I read the script, and I know Youngstown. I've spent time in Youngstown. I like Youngstown. I like the food. I like the people. I like the rock and roll music out of Youngstown. I know what the dirt is over there and what grows up out of it, and I like it. And so my imagination just blows up. And then somewhere I need someone to go, oh, whoa, 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 a gardener to come in and cut some of these, that's really a pretty blossoming bush you got there, but it's a weed, and we got to cut it down. It's killing the tree, and the tree is the story, the tree of life. So I have an imagination, and then it starts first there, and then goes. And so a lot of scripts aren't as good as the thing in my head, and I'll show up on set, and I'm like, yeah, but this was so good. Why is it terrible? And the director's like, well, it's really not written that well. And I'm like, no, what did I read? I don't know, Lew, but whatever you're doing is not what we're doing. So we got to dial it back or reroute or something. So I try to, as you said, stay inspired in spirit, and bring a place of service to the story. That's really important to me at this stage in my career. When you're a young actor, you're really trying to earn your chops. You're really trying to establish yourself, be seen, recognize that you're good at your craft. So there's a little showcasey thing there. Look at me, It's like street balling. I'm going to go out and I'm going to slam on the first guy I can. I could have dished off for a layup to the other dude, but I'm gonna take it up the lane and do it myself. Show everybody out on this court what I am. Mm-hmm. Or, there's a certain. But at this stage in my career, very experienced. I'm into what side of the wood do I carry and help? Where am I lifting? And figure that out, and then help. And if there's other places, the other thing I love is at this, because it's a village and an experience, and I'm a little older, there's a lot of people that you can set a great example for in the industry. Not in this industry, but all industries or all walks of life. You're always setting an example, and that can really help. It's it goes a long way to be a good citizen. And so I try to be a good citizen on set. I try to set a good example. I don't ever try to come in and I know better or I've experienced more, but if there's some insight that I can offer, I think it maybe helps a little bit. So I guess that I try to stay inspired. I try to tell good stories. I try to help the filmmakers grow, that they get better. I try to get better. I love doing things that are, like you say, this show, authentic, So But we miss a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's never a project that I work on that I don't feel like I don't get something out of.
Right.
I make a friend or several. I have an experience that I wouldn't otherwise. Sometimes it's as basic as I found a good restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
or I went to a cool church in town that I'm happy that I had that experience. So
Right.
I think experience. I think if you find joy, and that's another thing. And you know this. I try to find joy in all things.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible asks us find joy in all things, and I really try. And certainly with traffic on Mopac, it can get a little frustrating. I know, but that's a good break to sort of go through your mental wellness checklist. I am enough. Everything I need is within me. I manifest what I am, not what I want. There's several. That's a good check-in point. Maybe 5 minutes of meditation at that step, whatever. But I do try to find some joy to the work, so it's not work. And if it's not fun for me, it's not going to be fun for the audience, right? So
Right.
that was Tom Hardy offered that. We were doing a film, Lawless. I'm name dropping now.
One of my favorite movies ever.
Lawless, and he said, if it's not fun from us, how's it gonna be fun for those people watching it? Then I'm like, oh, it makes a lot of sense. Plus, you're an A-list movie star, and I should pay attention. So, I mean, the movie's getting made because of you, not because of me. So I'm buying. I'm mowing what you're growing, Tom.
Oh yeah. What is it?
I have a question about
yes, sir.
him.
Yeah.
Can I ask questions?
You can ask
I
me whatever
feel
you
like
want.
I'm
Open book.
hijacking
No,
this.
please. I love it.
Apology. Do you know the term transference?
Definitely heard it. I definitely heard it recently too.
So the term, as I understand through programs where you take a level of addiction, let's call it alcoholism, okay?
Yeah.
And you go through the program to attend to it, but does sometimes you transfer it into something else, like obsessively doing something else? Let's say I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I drink a shitload of coffee. I got a coffee habit that you wouldn't believe. I'm smoking a lot of cigarettes now because that's sort of, I'm transferring that. I guess I'll call it addiction. Or I'm going out and meeting a lot more young ladies because I'm not attending to the drinks at the bar,
Right.
type thing. Is that something that happens through getting well?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think there's early on in my recovery journey when I discovered running and then got into ultra running and start running these long races, people would routinely come up to me and say, you're replacing one addiction for another.
Oh.
And I completely understand and get what they say. And what I will say that made it different was I was able to understand that as an addict, like, we're very good at repetition, right? The ceremony of waking up every morning and getting my spoon ready, shooting up, like, that was something I could
Nice
do daily.
routine, yeah.
And
You knew it.
Now take that mindset of doing something every day, right? And then take a Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe Bryant figured out early on of just repetition basketball. So I realized that for whatever reason, that was the same mindset. And I was able to apply that into running.
Yep.
And then another thing I think that people don't talk about is when it comes to endurance running, number one, it's mental, a lot mental. And number two, it's endurance. How long can I endure this pain for? And I think as addicts or alcoholics become very good at enduring hardship, enduring depression, enduring all these things. And so I think it transferred perfectly because I was willing to go to dark places for long amounts of time and push myself. But the level of achievement I got afterwards, the level of self-confidence that grew, all that became the new thing. And I think there was a point where, at one point, if I would have got injured and running was taken away, could have been bad. But
So you maybe it would have been would you have felt lost? Like, I got to go back to something that I'm comfortable with?
by that point, I had good recovery community around me, and I was discovering and learning balance.
I mean, is it always good, Sean? Is there people that are like, well, I don't drink, but I've got a bad gambling habit now?
No, there's everything.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, like, you go out of one, as you said, one
happens,
addiction,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden,
So
I didn't spin it into long distance running and health,
no, it's absolutely. If you don't get to the underlying cause, right? We can solve the alcoholism. I can go to the 12 steps and all that stuff. But
right.
the one thing, honestly, that the 12 steps in the program didn't do for me, I was able to get into therapy because I dug deeper about family stuff and dynamics and all that. So I started understanding why I am the way I am. Why do I react in these situations? Because this happened earlier in life.
Wow.
And so...
And that's work.
Right.
Dude, that's not work that any of us want to do, and we all have to do.
No, but thankfully I did it. And now understand that, I was able, for a long time, I didn't shoot dope anymore. I'm not a heroin addict anymore, but it could have came out in sex, porn, gambling, whatever other avenue, and we just feel like because we're not putting a needle in our body, we're okay.
We're healthy,
which is not the case.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Yes, definitely. Now I understand what you're asking. For sure thing.
Yeah. It's Sunday. Are we allowed to say that? Because you might not air this for, maybe you only air on Mondays. I don't know when you post.
No, we could say anything.
It's Sunday, so it's church. Do you have I'll start with my favorite Bible verses, Psalm 46:10. I like this because it's an ask, and it's, the Lord asks us to do two things in this psalm. Be still and know that I'm God. This is 46:10. Be still and know that I'm God. And so I like to engineer things, like reverse engineer them, or really break down, because I'm an actor, so most of what I do is text and words. So be still, as I understand it, because we're really busy, we're really moving, we're really worrying, we're really trying to control. We're always actively planning and scheming, and how I'm going to get ahead, and how am I going to pay, and I get it, and life has stresses, and how am I going to get the kids to college, and how am I going to be still and know, not in hope, not in wish, know that I am God. I'm here with you. And so when I recognize that, I'm like, oh man, I'm taken care of. I am never alone. And so I love that one.
Love it.
You don't have to respond, sorry.
No.
But maybe you got one you could share that you like. And it doesn't have to be your favorite, just one that comes to mind today.
I listened to, I think we might have talked about this when I first met, but couple years back, I felt a definite pull back to God and the Word of God. And all
right.
that.
I know.
I started going back to church, and it just happened to be probably the particular time of the year. But a lot of the messaging at the church at the time was about tithing, and so it immediately took me out and made me apprehensive and all that. And so it turned me kind of internal and forced me to foster my own relationship with God. And so I downloaded a prayer app, and I just every time I got in the car, I listened to this prayer app.
Okay.
And
Yep.
it made me, number one, start listening to the Word and really thinking about it. And then I started to pray. And I didn't pray for a long time because I didn't feel like I was good at prayer. Well, then I just started having conversations with God.
Yeah, right.
And it continued to evolve, and one of the big things was that I realized is I'm a very go person, like especially now in my life, what I'm building, like let's get it.
You are.
And
I've been watching you for 3 weeks. You're very busy.
Thank you.
You're very active.
Try. So I would pray and realize that I would hurry up and pray, and then it was immediately go on about my day, and I never took the time to sit and just listen or think about, is God trying to get a hold of me? Is he trying to speak to me through Lew today? Is he trying to speak to me through the guy who helped me walk through the door? Through something I'm listening to on the radio, a podcast I hear. And so I really started opening my eyes and like having quiet time. So I'd listen to my prayer, pray, quiet time, and all that. And it just started opening up so many doors. It started making me think about things differently. It made me a deeper thinker.
Yeah.
And so I truly feel for the first time in my life, I am aligned with what God wants for me at this time. And I know he wants me busy. He wants me doing what I'm doing. And I know when it comes into my path, when it's supposed to, when I'm supposed to sit down and like learn, you know what I mean? Learn the Bible and have my favorite Bible verse and all that.
Yeah.
And so for years, I feel like, my mother put me in a Catholic school young. And so I grew up immediately identifying like if I have a relationship with God, it has to be through church. I have to do this. And so it's been very freeing this last year or two, fostering this relationship and truly understanding and believing God's within me.
Yep.
Just us sitting here right now, like God is in this room.
No doubt.
So that's kind of been my journey as far as that. So, and all that to say,
I appreciate it.
Big long answer to say no, I don't have a favorite Bible verse for you right now.
Because you hear them and that resonates with you, and I put you on the spot. So there'll be one today that's different than tomorrow, and it's okay to have multiple.
I got one for you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Were you about to say something?
No, because it's going to get heavy too. So I don't know if that's appropriate, but
yeah, we get heavy
because we're going to go off into this. But I think you should ask yours first.
Okay. So with navigating, obviously Hollywood, living out in LA and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You starting when you were younger, you've had to have navigated the waters. There's substances around and all that.
Oh my gosh.
Seems like everybody out there has got that. So what was that? What has it been like navigating those?
Well, that's a great question because I come from a no substance background. Okay. So playing baseball, physically, I had to be such a skilled player because strength-wise, I wasn't up to speed with the other guys I was playing with and or against. So I had to be a really skilled player. Repetition. I had to hit left-handed and right-handed. I had to have a good throwing. I had to feel ground balls. I had to do the little things that helped the team win. So naturally, in doing that, when you're of that mindset, you recognize what's around you. You know, the lions walk out onto the prairie and they know they're king of the beast. Mm. They may see the gazelle in front of them. I'll have that today when there's a wildebeest right next to them. But when you're a wildebeest or you're a prairie dog or whatever, you get out on the prairie and you see everything. Mm. And so that's I'm very grateful that I've had the skill set or the power of observation. So right away, I recognized players that were so different than me, so much more skilled. It helped me understand how to survive in baseball, in college baseball, in professional baseball, in the minor leagues. So I recognized early I was not going to be a guy that could make a mistake and not get sent home. I'd be the first guy. You know, Temple went out and got all messed up and got in trouble, and let this be a lesson. He's been released. Mm-hmm. Let this be a lesson to the rest of you. That's how I envisioned it. And also, we got tested, dude. So we had to pee in a bottle, and there's no way that they might have overlooked a star in the making, but they wouldn't have overlooked me. So I didn't do it. So I was scared to death of that ruining my life. Okay. When it was so available, accessible, and accepted in Hollywood, when I showed up, I still had that. Am I going to be tested tomorrow? I don't think. And I was I was really nervous. I was fearful of it to the point of like it embarrassed me how I reacted. It was. You know, I was trying to fit in and be cool, and I just couldn't be myself around it. And I reckoned, and then as I got closer to those who were participating, I might try to talk them out of participating in it. Man, dude, are you sure you want to get high again today? Let's go to the beach. Let's go talk to, girls. Don't lecture me. I'm a grown-ass man. If I want to get high, oh, yeah, you're right. But wait, you're not lecturing me. You're judging me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. Well, that means we're not friends. Maybe. That was a hard thing to navigate because I was around highly motivated athletes who typically, they were doing it, but not so recreationally. Mm-hmm. And so it was difficult. It was difficult not to fit in. An example, I've been on Willie Nelson's bus with him, and he told me he doesn't trust a man that didn't smoke weed. I've never done it. I've never done coke. I've never smoked weed. have drank alcohol, still drink alcohol, as a matter of fact. What's the difference, right? I always found that interesting, that an alcoholic and a drug addict would both judge each other.
Mm-hmm.
It just it kind of doesn't make sense, right? I worked with these two guys, Michael Madsen, Tom Sizemore. They're both passed, God rest their souls. But those two would judge each other. You know, Mike liked his vodka, and Tom liked his cocaine, and that drug addict, alcoholic. You know, you guys are, you know, they're both white knuckling over the same addiction. It's not the same. I don't mean to say
it is,
but
at the end of the day, it is.
And so very difficult. And then I started to kind of look at myself and go, wait, why don't you? What's it gonna hurt? And that really scared me. At that point, a couple years into Hollywood. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to like it. I had literally never tried it and talked myself into, I would probably like it. I would probably be the one. Oh, I can't now. Oh, I can't. So I've just always stayed away because I was scared in the beginning, and then I got scared that I would really like it, I think. Because I'm an outgoing, upbeat personality, I think it would just enhance that, and I would just so I stopped judging people for their participation in it. I stopped because I tried to not, that's not my job to judge anyone. I've always tried to be of service to someone that I thought was in trouble with it. And that for me would be the Bible, that'd be church, that'd be, you know, so I've always tried to be of service in that realm, thinking that that's probably where God put me to be there, even though, how do you know, Lew, you've never done it? How do you know? I really don't, but I'm here for a reason, and I'm probably the one guy that's going to say, whatever it is, you're not alone, and there's someone that can pull you out of this and get you on the right track. You know, what's funny with God, I keep it really fun. I have a little game I play because I think God's really busy, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's got a lot going on. He's the dude. But I do talk to his son, Jesus. Hey, Jesus, good morning. How's it going? I'm feeling really good today. Thanks. Could you just thank your dad for not for turning the sun on and flipping the Jenny for the air that I get to breathe, and, you know, the light switch for the sun. And by the way, my mother's going through a little bit of cancer. If you could, just put in a word for her. I talked to Jesus that he might go tell his dad, right? And I think that's fun. So
I like it. Hey, foster your own relationship.
Did anyone ever ask you, no, did anyone ever tell you it's not your fault?
I don't think so.
That surprises me. That for all the people that have been in your life, it's not it's not your fault.
I'm not under the impression that I just had a conversation with my brother, and just having foresight now, at least being 43 years old and having that amount of life to look back on and understand that, you know, most of the people that I deal with, they're somebody's son, they were somebody's daughter.
Do you ever tell anyone that?
Yes. Routinely.
Thank you.
Yeah, routinely.
Thank you.
It goes along with what I'm saying. Like, they were raised a certain way by certain parents that had been through their things. They were conditioned a certain way from young.
Yeah.
And so, not to say people's actions are always correct or they're doing good things, or I condone what they're doing necessarily, but you can understand why. You know, we can't choose our parents. We can't choose how we were raised, the environment we're in, our economic status, all those different things, and they all play in.
Yeah.
What was the heavy one you have for me?
That was it.
Oh, okay.
I just want to tell you that.
Yeah.
I've read your story. I'm working. I'm telling your story.
Right.
That'd be maybe the first thing I would say to you. It's not your fault, and I would hope you hear me.
What was your so you read the script. So when you read a script as an actor, are you kind of just reading the Lew parts? Are you skimming the whole thing? Or are you reading all the way through?
I never read the Lew parts.
Okay.
I see the story and I read the story for what it is. and I love reading the story. And I'm going to read it from page 1 to page 108 or page 98. I'm going to read every word, and I'm going to challenge it. And then I'm going to read it again to see if it's different when I read it the second time. And then I'm going to read it again, because the thing that we talk about, repetition, it starts to get comfortable, and it starts to sort of reveal itself like a relationship, you know? Oh, that's how you make coffee in the morning. That's how you go about, oh, now I see who you are. Or, you know, it starts to show, the script shows itself to me. So I'd like reading the script a lot. I don't spend a lot of time on how many lines do I have or how much am I in the movie. I'm there to serve the story, and whatever I'm being asked to do, typically it's important enough for someone to ask me. It's important enough for me to see how that plays. Again, I'm a little bit in less of a mindset of, I don't have much to do. Whatever I have to do is of service. And so, and obviously that's not the case. And this is a big role, and there's a lot to do for Dave, your stepfather. And I liked this script. This script read well. I was surprised at what the level of layers of emotions, like every scene is really intense. Really, there's a incredible amount of intensity at this, and so there's a real skill to, delicate balance of giving the audience a chance to breathe and then bring them back in, and it's a runaway train we're trying to capture here. And so I liked the script a lot, and that surprised me, because I didn't know anything about the writer. I didn't know anything about Andrew, the director, who is the writer. I didn't know your story. I hadn't seen the documentary at that point. I read the script first, and I was like, "This is put together really well. This isn't just thrown together. We're not just trying to get something, built here. We're doing something really sincere." So I really liked the script. I liked the characters. I liked the structure, and so it landed. I thought it was, and I think it's great. And we're really. And so what happens is, because you're there, this, you show up what's on the page, but then in the moment it changes, because we're so invested. And we don't change the words, but sometimes the intentions. When I look at a script or a character, I focus on intention. What's the intention? What are we trying to say here? What's the intention of this? A lot going on, but at the end of the day, she just got into Georgetown. And Sean is getting a reprieve by the courts, possibly. Those are both wins. Mm-hmm. Those are both wins. And I could get lost in, wait, one is getting, so what's great about the scene that I'm talking about right now, that's the prodigal son scene. If somebody just would have told me that, I'd have got it in a minute, and I wouldn't have said, yeah, but, because I spent the whole time, and he's had so many chances, and it is good, but someone just said, he's alive.
Yeah.
He's coming home. I'm the son that's been here I've done everything. He's gone out and blown his fortune. He's gone out and rousted about with women of ill repute, and he's lost all the money you gave him, and he's slept with the swine and ate with them, and he's coming back, and you put a adorned gown and jewelry on him, and you're going to butcher the fatted calf and throw a party for. You've never thrown a party for me. But son, you're alive and you love me and I love you. That goes without saying, but our our son, he's back. There's something, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that going into that scene, but I learned it there, you see. I learned it in that space. And I was like, oh, that's the truth. See, there's the truth. What I was doing was me, that little ego, right? The ego. And it's interesting. You know the ocean. You like the ocean?
Of course.
I like the ocean, and it's big, it's powerful. Ocean creates weather. The ocean creates storms. The ocean creates wind, rain. It's powerful. It has ebb. It has flow. The ocean's powerful. We'd agree, right?
Yes.
But we go in with a little glass and we take some of the ocean out and we put it in the glass. Not so powerful. That ocean water has now been removed from its source or God, and it doesn't really create much. It's in the, and it's been taken by this container, otherwise known as the ego.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're not part of source. We're not part of God, and we're not very powerful. We don't have Jesus' dad sitting there going, I got you.
Right.
I got you. Because we got, there's nothing powerful in that.
Right.
And so I spend so much time looking at things, I think you could tell this way because, just because I think it's the mystery of life. You're somebody that's changed your life and continues to change your life, and you're creating. I think that's why you're here. I think that's what all of this has led to, this and more, you see? And that needed to happen. I'm sorry for the hardships that it caused. I'm sorry for the things that you had to go through to be exposed to and expose other people to. Man, but to get to this place, I think about that when we talk about loss of life. And when I say I have to believe there's a reason. It's protection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know it doesn't make any sense, and I'd apologize to anyone who's having a difficult time understanding someone leaving too soon. I don't have an answer for that other than it was a good time for them to go home. They got called home at that time. A child that passes too young makes no sense at all, but the only sense that it can make is it protected them from something coming to them that was going to be very difficult, very harmful. So I know that someone's out there listening that's going to say that doesn't help me, and I wouldn't say that it would either. I haven't experienced that, thank goodness. But that's how I've given over my power to that. Okay, and so I reasoned that the situations that you've seen in this story, you're going to see a lot of these situations. So we're gonna ask you all to come watch that and support the film. It's going to be great, right?
Absolutely.
It's going to be great.
Definitely believe it.
Do you have fun with what you do?
I love it.
Do you
love it every day?
Is there ever a moment that you're like, this is challenging. This is,
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Understanding, learning balance. I'm very good at. I can get out here and push I Am Redemption all day, but the harder I push that, the more home suffers. You know what I mean? So I have to pour into my relationship, pour into my wife, who helps me build all this, who fuels me to do all this.
Yeah.
So understanding that balance, yeah, it's definitely hard. But again, when you're living in purpose, I don't know, you have that extra gear. I feel like.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And, so that's a good point because she is a big support and a big part of this, actually. As big a part of it as you, and so it's not an accident the two of you met.
No, it's not. No.
That's divinity. And you weren't ready to meet her before going through this, by the way. You'd have never met her.
You're right.
You met a lot of other people. A lot of other young ladies, I'm guessing, in your life.
You couldn't be more spot on.
You
know? I wasn't ready for the one until I was ready for the one.
And then it always works out.
A minute ago, or a little bit ago, you had said about how intense the script was, how intense the movie is, and it cracked me up because I can remember distinctly sitting in a T-Mobile with my sister, and a couple years back, and I walked in and she was talking to the guy at T-Mobile, and they said they were obviously saying something about me, and I was like, "What were you saying?" And she goes, "We were just talking about how intense you are," and I was like, "I'm not intense." And so it's for you to see that, it was like this full circle moment of hearing saying that.
It's not fair because it's a word that it strikes a chord with everybody differently.
You're right.
But in general, intense is heightened alert, and I think that is not where a large percentage of us have lived. Mm-hmm. You've been in experience in arenas that are heightened alert that most of us will never know, and I think that you might wear that. Mm-hmm. That might be a T-shirt that you've earned, right?
A little bit.
And so I think maybe it's said as a compliment at this point, opposed. But yeah, somebody's going to go, "Guy's intimidating, intense," which I don't find you to be at all. But I do find you to be experienced, and I'm in reverence of that. I'm in respect of that, and I think that's a big part of why we're telling this story. And you're transitioning that experience into service, and that's huge, dude.
That's what it's about.
That's huge.
This is my favorite question
to
ask on the podcast.
I'm excited.
I've asked it every podcast.
Yeah.
So normally I'm saying you're walking out for the UFC heavyweight championship of the world.
Okay.
But I'm going to say we're walking to the red carpet premiere, Price of Redemption.
Okay.
Everybody's standing outside. This is a big Hollywood premiere.
Yep.
Everybody's standing outside. What is your walk-in song? What is that one song that just puts you in the zone, ready, just like you own the room?
There's so many. I am going to say it's probably going to be
what position were you in baseball?
In middle infield. But look, it's gonna be a song that makes me feel good and happy, and it's a song by a band called, I want to say they were the Young Cannibals.
Okay.
And it's a song, "Don't Give Up."
Right.
You got a reason to live. You got a reason to give. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Get you going?
It's a happy song. You're gonna bend, but you're not gonna break. Mm-hmm. And I'm right behind you. It's gonna feel scary, but I'm right with you. I got you. I wished I could tell everyone that. Most of us feel alone at some point, and we're never alone. So, I think especially when you've been going through some things, you just feel like they're only yours, but they're not. I like this idea. Just recently heard this one. You probably know this one, but like if we could all put one on a piece of paper, like a drawing, and put your, these are hacks. I don't use the word problems anymore, but for the case of understanding, if we could all put a problem mm-hmm. in the hat, you put your problem in the hat, whatever that is, would you draw someone else's or would you keep your own?
We always keep our own, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, so if you kind of couch it in the frame of that word,
yep.
It's pretty good. I don't call them problems now because it's a little hack, little wellness hack. I call them practices. I got to get better at paying my bills, but they show up every week or month or whatever to help me improve. So right. I'm getting better. Getting better. Yeah, right. Practices.
Well, Lou, I'm absolutely honored to be able to sit down and get to
was
talk
a lot
with you
of
deeper.
fun.
I could talk with you for
Yeah,
hours and hours.
dude.
I should have booked a couple more.
Oh man, this is great.
But-
It's great what you're doing for your audience. I think it's really wonderful that you've got an established audience and that you're tuning in. A lot of good information, a lot of good service. We're in this together, and lead with love, lead with faith over fear. That's so basic, but it's not easy.
Right.
Can't see either one. I'm holding each one. You can't see, and the fear is easy to go into because our minds like it. But I choose faith.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, I'm honored to sit with you today. I'm honored to watch this the next week, and
It's gonna be great.
Everything will wrap up. And how can people tune into you? Get it.
Yeah, I'm out there on the socials. I'm at Lew Temple Actor on socials, whether that's Instagram or Facebook or TikTok.
LEW.
It is LEW. LEW Temple. Yeah. I have a little. I do this thing. So I audition a lot for jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Television, film, stuff you see, whether it be Yellowstone or U.S. Marshals or, Friends and Neighbors, whatever. So I put my auditions online in a little private YouTube channel, and you can subscribe through Texicans. You can become a Texican, and at LewTempleOnline.com, and I'll describe how I approach this audition, what I'm going for, and you'll be able to respond like, dude, you missed it. That's totally not what they were doing. Clearly, because I didn't get cast, but I like to sort of give the work that nobody sees and put it out there. Yeah, so you can go to LewTempleOnline.com, and that's where you can become a Texican. And yeah, man, keep doing your good work, dude.
Well, absolutely will.
That's great. All right.
Thank you.
God bless.
So the way we like to wrap up the show,
Yes.
if you take a look in your camera,
I'll do.
maybe throw out a couple I am statements to let the people know who you truly are.
Got you. I'm a man of God. I am blessed. I am love. I am someone who talks to Jesus, and he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of yours. I am enough, just how I am right here. I'm enough. I am how I'm drawn. I don't need to be any bigger, any prettier, any meaner. I am faith over fear. I am alive, and I am abundant, as opposed to in lack. Switch all that gear to abundance, and it comes to you, right?
Dude,
And I'm grateful. More than anything, I'm grateful. Look, I challenge your entire audience. We'll see if we can do it for 3 days, starting Monday, tomorrow. First thing out of your word, thank you. See if you can do it too. If you get 3 days in a row, you got a streak going. Now we'll see what you got. But it's kind of a nice practice. I don't even know how many seconds it takes, but it might be less than one. Just thank you. Then you'll start adding things onto it.
But hey, he's getting you to go for 3 days, so we're going to get him signed up for the 60-day challenge right after that. And we're going to get him going.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
We got you.
All right.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. You were incredible. Thank you so much.
Dude, my pleasure.
Thank you.
So good to be here.